Very quick little video on today's Friday episode of Beyond the Gates because it was kind of a slow episode. Before we get started, you could find me on Patreon, patreon.com/OCGTV. Watching old One Life to Live right now. Soon going to be watching some old Days of Our Lives from the 80s too, hopefully. Now, as for Beyond the Gates today, there's been a couple times now that the show's decided to have their most boring episodes on a Friday. And I don't think the show should need a pro tip that you should not have your most boring episode of the week on a Friday. You need to leave the audience wanting more. But sometimes this show decides to do that. That is what we got today. And I say this after the last 3 episodes especially knocked it out of the park. But I guess we needed one more slow episode before a hopefully great May sweeps ahead of us starting next week. Or maybe the show just kind of didn't know what was going to happen with March Madness, didn't know the preemption dates, and maybe that's why sometimes these Friday episodes aren't hitting. Whatever it is, I think we have more preemptions next week as well. Today's episode, some of the main points to talk about quickly. Bill and Martin got into it again. They haven't shared an intense scene for quite a while. At the beginning of the show, in the first couple of weeks, we got some Martin and Bill scenes, and I do like their scenes. I mean, I think Timon, the actor that plays Bill, he elevates a lot of the other actors and actresses on the show. A lot of the characters have their best scenes with Bill, in my opinion. I think Naomi has her best scenes with Bill. They have a great father-daughter dynamic. I think Danny has her best scenes with Bill. They have great chemistry. I think now we see that Martin probably has his best scenes with Bill. There's an intensity there that I think they like to bring to their scenes. So it was good to see them interacting again. We also got some Martin and Naomi interactions, which we don't get often. So it's nice to see some new characters interact with each other more often. Hopefully they keep doing that. Maybe they could throw Derek and Ashley with other people more, because together I hate them. We'll get to that, I guess. But back to Bill and Martin. The undertones of their conversations today was this big secret of Martin's, these nightmares Martin keeps having. What did Martin do that is this big blackmail hanging over his head? And we do know by now that Bill knows what that is. I mean, Bill was threatening Vernon at the beginning of the show, the first week, to make the family go to his wedding with Haley. So Bill knows whatever Martin did. So Martin trying to play hardball with Bill doesn't work, because I think Bill kind of holds the power in that dynamic because of this information that he does have on Martin. So I hope they do push that more, because the secret of Martin's needs to come out sooner rather than later, so it could open up that whole story. Because the Martin and Smitty dynamic is getting old because it's getting nowhere, just going in circles. Where Smitty's just the pushover and lets Martin do whatever decision Martin makes for the family, they got to do. Sick of it. As for Bill, though, we've seen now on different occasions his hand continuing to go numb. And that was today's cliffhanger, if you want to call it that. Was Bill's hand going numb after talking to Tomas. Tomas was spying for Bill on the women who have been hired back after the settlement with the firm. The women want the firm to have a whole new way they hire people, hiring protocols. They want oversight on partner selections. They want to look for the reasons people have been fired in the past. They want to look at salary disparities. So they're doing a lot, and Bill's probably not happy with all that. That's why he wanted Tomas spying on them in the first place. But the main thing is his hand continues to go numb. So when we first saw that, the cliffhanger was kind of random, where his hand went numb in an argument with Naomi. But as I've said many times now, this show does not add information that they don't go back to later on, which is great to see. So I think Bill will have a health issue coming up, which will either make us feel sorry for him more. Maybe that's what the show wants from us, that Bill's not the big bad that we might think he is, especially with the way Ted might be portrayed with a new actor playing him in the next few weeks. Maybe they want to show that, yeah, Bill is a big bad lawyer, but he still has a heart in there somewhere. I don't know where they're going with this health issue, but it's probably something like that. But we'll see where they go with the health issue. We got some more Tyrell with Jessica. We got a teen romance possibly starting. But I think there's probably more than meets the eye with what Jessica wants with Tyrell. Not sure what that is yet. Not sure if it will play more into the bullying, or if she will just be someone that wants to be involved with a higher profile family. I don't know, but she's already the popular girl at school. So I don't know what her MO is with Tyrell. Like I said the first time we saw them interact, I do think there's chemistry there. And I do love a good teen romance on a soap opera. So I wouldn't mind them going there, but I do hope there is some conflict, at least at the beginning, between the two of them. Because if not, they're just going to be Ashley and Derek, which isn't working. So they do need some kind of conflict, I think, to work. We'll see. It was cute that Samantha was excited for her brother and kind of making fun of him a little bit to Martin when she told Martin that Tyrell has a girlfriend in Samantha. The story that's been getting a lot of airtime lately is Doug and his gambling story. He went to Nicole today as a patient to let her know that he does in fact have a gambling problem. And I guess that is step one of trying to get over an addiction. He admitted he had an addiction, a gambling addiction. Kind of talked to her about his past, started young, betting on things like dice games and whatnot. And then got into his relationship with Vanessa and how they've grown apart and how he's afraid to tell her about the addiction because he still holds her opinion highly. Nicole tried to get him to talk to Vanessa about it or get into a group to talk about his issues, but he's being stubborn for now. But I guess this is a good step for Doug as an addict. He then later talked to Vanessa and didn't tell her the truth, but he did tell her that the sex they had the other day kind of reminded him of how their relationship used to be. And I think the show's doing a good job of finally giving us Vanessa and Doug's relationship and showing us that they once were a good couple instead of just Vanessa sleeping around all the time. Her side of the story I'm tired of, though. Like, today she was confronting Diego because now he's the one ignoring her after she had been ignoring him. And I simply don't care. So, yeah. I was hoping they would go a more interesting way with Diego, but right now we're not getting that. But it's good to see Doug get this off his chest. Quickly, Derek and Ashley were on. They had some discussion about, do they want to get married? Do they want to move in together? I did some fast forwarding because, like I said, they don't have enough conflict to be interesting. They're not getting enough interaction with other characters to at least maybe test them elsewhere on the show. Because together, isolated away from the rest of the characters, they suck. Period. Even though I do think the actor that plays Derek has been better the last 2 times he's been on. So at least that's one positive I have to say about them. And then we got some random story with a homeless woman today at the police station who was saying she was a victim of police brutality, but that she is the one that actually assaulted someone. Jacob tried to deal with her and then had Naomi kind of talk to her, but she doesn't want to deal with a lawyer. It's kind of a random start to a story, but it fits Naomi and Jacob. They're kind of the two goody two-shoes together. When the show first started, I thought I liked their chemistry, but as the show has gone on, I still think there is chemistry between the two characters, but I think because both Naomi and Jacob are just so similar, it doesn't make them the most interesting couple together. But I guess if they're the couple that helps other characters on the show, then I don't hate it, but hopefully this whole homeless woman story actually goes somewhere. I think it will, because like I said, like with the numb hand, once the show starts something, they usually do go back to it. So at least we have something new. Looking forward to next week, though. Not the best Friday episode, unfortunately, but we are getting to Nicole and Ted's anniversary party in the preview. It looks like a lot of stuff's going to come out there. They also revealed in the preview that Bill does, in fact, know about Ted's affair. I know Kaiwan in the comments has been asking if they're going to bring Bill into the story because I think Kaiwan hopes that happens. I hope that happens too. I think Bill and Dana's scenes alone will be entertaining. But we do know that at one point Ted hired a lawyer to deal with Dana. That lawyer was probably Bill. So I expect some Bill and Dana scenes soon. And I think both of those actors are great. So Bill and Dana should be entertaining whenever we do get that.